gentlemen, and welcome back to the Real Men of Real Estate, hosted by your guest, Thomas F. Chappell Jr., with my very special guest, Mr. Andy, the Christmas guy, Teasley. We were speaking about exchangers, and mentorships. So let's go back. I know with a lot of the older guys, they did the real estate cruise. Talk
Oh,
about
yeah.
that.
Well, we got a real estate. We just did a real estate cruise last February.
Yes.
It's back. We've been cruising a lot. I'm going to go next February again on an East Coast cruise, and I'm actually featured speaker on that cruise. The West Coast cruise, the Inland Empire Group, are doing a cruise, a 4-day out of LA
Okay.
for the West Coast. Same weekend, of course. You know, it never fails. Things always pile up. But yeah, it's a great place because you're stuck with a couple hundred people that are all interested in what you do. So it's very nice, and we get to interact with family and kids, and yeah. And so I'm
Okay.
looking forward to the cruise. Really looking forward to Pete Fortunato's coming to town next month. Well,
Well,
just
yeah,
barely,
yeah,
almost this month in
yeah,
a day.
exactly. At two, what, a day or two? It will
Yeah.
be in August and whatnot.
Yeah.
Now, I know that Pete plays a big part in your real estate endeavors. Speak about that.
Well, there were the four horsemen out of Florida is what they always used to call them. And John Schaub and Jack Miller started educating people in real estate in 1972. And soon Peter joined them, and Jimmy Napier joined them, and several other people. And he had a crew of about 20 people that he called mentors who had taken his training and were in a position to train the next group. And of those four, John Schaub is still around, and he doesn't teach frequently or regularly, but he's still with us. And Peter's still around, and Peter is teaching nonstop.
Yeah, he won't quit.
No, he has breakfast every day in the same McDonald's in Madeira Beach, unless he's out of town at 8 a.m. And he shows up, and people flock there, and that it's just a font of unlimited free education. And I owe that man so much. He's been so good to me. It's been good to my family. He's really helped and built my wealth and improved what I've had. And I really, my goal is to try to be that for somebody younger, and a number of people younger. One of the things I love to do when I catch some youngster, and I generally buy The Richest Man in Babylon about 20 copies at a time off of Amazon.
Which is a great book, ladies and gentlemen.
Great book.
Wonderful book.
Yeah.
I think it tops Rich Dad Poor Dad. That's just my opinion.
I think you're right. Rich Dad Poor Dad is a good inspiration book,
Exactly.
but it's not as structural. There's not a good system built in it. It's really fluff.
Yeah.
So The Richest Man in Babylon, to me, if you could take that book and apply half of the life lessons in it, you will die wealthy.
And the biggest part, with the book is it's kind of biblically based.
Yeah.
Because you go back to God giving the three different guys the same amount and the prodigal son, and it's based off back in the Latin days. However, it's got real solid principles for present and future tense.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
I love that book. I talk
Well,
about it all the time.
See, I keep handing out free copies and telling his kids that if they send me a good college level book report, I'll pay them $50. I figure if nothing else gets them motivated, greed should. So I love PIN. I love sending those PayPals and Venmos to those kids when they send me those book reports, because I know they've read it and they paid attention to it. And if I'm lucky, 10% of them are going to actually apply it.
That's true.
And
That's true.
If you can apply that 70-10-10-10 rule to your life, you can't help but die wealthy.
That's true. Now, let's go into the financial calculator.
Okay, you got a couple hours.
I know that's one of your biggest asset is talking about the financial calculator. Now, I know Bill Tan taught you the financial
He
calculator.
did.
So
It's funny because I spent the first 20 years of my investment career knowing pretty much how the rule of 72 works, and knowing that if I was buying a $100,000 house at 6% for 30 years, that was a $600 payment. And if you know those two things, you can cobble through a pretty good career in real estate,
Exactly.
and you can know that you're doing good enough. But then Bill Tant, it's too many people said, "Oh, you got to take Bill Tant's calculator class." So I did, and it was the first calculator class he had taught live and in person since he had a lung disease. He had a fungus,
Right.
so he took off three years of teaching, and it was a great class. We had a bunch of interesting people in it, and he and I were going along, and I was just understanding all of it, and speaking my language, which was the language I'd learned from Spud and all those exchanger guys. And he says, "Where have you been?" Because I'd never met him before. He says, "We're having lunch together." I said, "Okay." And that was it. He said, "We figured out we're brothers of another mother, you know, because we spoke the same language. We'd never met each other before. And he's a great friend, a good mentor still to this day."
Exactly. I haven't taken this class yet because I took yours, and it's like, okay, it's kind of similar, but I know Bill's is a little bit more in depth. You do a 2-day class, and your 2-day classes consist of the first day all day calculator,
Mhm.
and then the second day is creative financing with using the Lonnie Scruggs rule of thumb.
Right.
So I told you, Bill, I'm gonna take it, but every time I get ready to go online and take it, I got something else coming up. So I gotta really take it. He
Yeah.
teases me on it all the time. He says TC because he calls me TC. He don't call me Tom. He said TC, you know. And then he asked me when I first asked him to speak at the club, he said, "Am I dark skinned enough?" I know I'm a minority, but am I dark skinned enough? I'm like, Bill crazy. But
He has Manzanor stories. Do you know that?
yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing what we do to our citizens in this country.
Exactly. You know, but ladies and gentlemen, I just want you to understand that, you know, getting a mentor is the most fantastic thing you can do, because now you can call up on these guys at any time and they will take your phone calls. They will sit down and talk to you. Make sure you understand what it is that you're looking to do in the real estate space so that way you can be successful. You know, Andy teases a lot of people, but he's glad to see you when you show up.
Oh yeah, and
You
I love
know.
a phone call. I get such a kick out of people because they're so guilty because they call me on the telephone, and I go, "You have to understand, I'm a boomer. Right? That's all we had back in the day. It was on the wall in the kitchen, you know." I love when people call me with questions. That means they're going to learn to communicate in the language that I know,
Right.
and I don't have to worry about throwing jargon flags at myself and saying, "Oh, I can't use that because I got to define the term for this poor person I'm talking to." You know, I love teaching people. I love when my phone rings and somebody's got a problem they can't figure out, and I can give them 2 structures in 20 minutes and send them off and tell them to go find 8 more, because there's usually 10 solutions to any problem in real estate.
And yeah, and the biggest thing is, okay, why would you want to give it away? Why don't you keep it yourself?
That's pure Mick Blackwell. That's what that
Exactly.
is.
Exactly.
Why would you sell a nice house?
Exactly. So we took a trip down, you doing the Christmas and you doing the Lonnie Scruggs and all those different things like that. What's on the horizon next for Andy?
Oh, I'm gonna retire onto a cruise ship, I think. I don't know. I'm having too much fun. I can't retire because I haven't had a job in so damn many years, you know? Um, no, I'm having a good time. I'm doing what I want to do. The only thing that is in my horizon is that when my dad goes to heaven, I'm going to move to Madeira Beach to be near Pete and to be out of this crazy state.
Oh,
But
okay.
this isn't a politics show, so we won't get into that.
So why near Pete?
I like the weather. They have a real estate meeting almost every night in the greater Tampa area. Plus, there's McDonald's at 8 a.m. every day. You know, that's hard. It's hard to pass up.
Now I know Pete has an open door for those who don't understand.
Oh no,
Pete,
that has changed.
oh, he's changed it.
Gene's back.
Oh, okay. I'm
It
sorry.
used to be
Open door.
Yeah, you just walk in the door,
Yeah.
even if he wasn't home.
Okay. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
But Pete has had an interesting year.
Well, yeah, because he had the bypass.
Had
Now,
the
how do you call
quintuple
that?
bi-
There you go,
quintuple
quintuple.
bypass.
Okay.
and his wife came back after 27 years separation. He's happier than I've ever seen him. He's a whole different color because he used to be white as a sheet of paper because he just had no blood flow.
Right.
And how he's flesh colored, it's amazing. And but yeah, there's different rules at the house.
Well, what people don't know, he had the surgery, and after he was released, he was right back
Oh, the
teaching
next
again.
day he was
Yes.
in exchangers.
I was like, this man Tigger don't quit. You know, most people okay, you need to relax, you need to recoup, Pete back out on the trail teaching again.
No, that's it. Pete, that is relaxing and recuperating for Pete. So yeah, I'm going to keep teaching, keep working on teaching up young people so they can speak my language and they can go on and hopefully have wealth in their lives. Because to me, that's the best part of what I do. I got a youngster that I trained. His name's Rodolfo.
I know him very well.
Oh, at 19 years old, he took my class. On the Tuesday after my weekend, he bought his first mobile home. He paid $10,000, sold it the next week for $5,000 down, or $55,000 note. That youngster is going to have so much success in his life because he got out there, he listened, and he took action. And I was so proud of that little guy. Disappointed because he went and got his license, but that's a whole different conversation.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take our last and final break here, and we're going to wrap it up with our very special guest, Andy the Christmas Guy. Okay? Thank you very much.